going to show you 3 different tricks today to teach your dogs. They're considered easy level tricks, but it totally depends on the dog that you have. Here's these guys right here. They're totally ready to go. All you're gonna need is a clicker if you use one, your favorite treats. I'm using my Happy Howie's treats. These are high value for Fen, which is very important. Yeah, good boy. He's a very picky eater, so those are pretty high value to him and what he'll eat. I'll talk about that later in this video. And your dogs, and we'll get started. All right, so the first trick that we're gonna teach is a play bow. Now, Wrigley knows this one from the past. Fen has done this one off and on, but I think he might actually struggle with this, so we're just gonna kind of see. I'll deal with Wrigley next. All right, Fenny. So how you're gonna try to teach this is you're gonna take a treat, get your other dog out of the way first, stay. You're gonna take a treat, target your dog's nose, and we want them kind of working on that treat like Fen's doing right now. And you're gonna try to kind of guide them down, good boy. You're gonna try to kind of guide them down as they're working on that treat at almost like an angle backwards. Fen is kind of like moving back on his front legs, which is kind of what we're looking for. And this one is what has been actually difficult for him in the past. And we can kind of encourage them just by clicking and feeding just as they move their heads down. So I wanted to show you Fen because Wrigley gets a lot more excited about food, and she actually gets tricks like this quite a bit faster. Good boy. So Fen tends to struggle a little bit more, good boy, but that's ultimately kind of what we're looking for, is more of that actual elbow dip down. Let me move you. Okay, so again, we're kind of just keeping that food right at our dog's nose and guiding it down. And I'm clicking and feeding Fen, good girl. I'm clicking and feeding Fen for whenever he dips his head down, just like that. Good boy, good job. And I'm kind of looking for him to dip his head down like almost straight back like he's kind of doing, because otherwise his head goes sideways and he's not gonna fold back, good boy, into that sort of down that I want. So we'll see how far he can get with the food. This is actually one I'm going to show you guys with the ball as well, because he actually does this one, good boy. He does this one really well with a ball as a target to follow, but these treats are super helpful for him being able to nibble at all the way down. So you definitely need a treat with this one that your dog likes. Good boy. Nice job. And we'll just do a few more repetitions with him. But I wanted to show a dog that kind of struggles a little bit more with this kind of stuff and how much I want to encourage him. So I'm clicking and feeding really often. Good boy, good job. For him, like lowering his head down like that, and we'll see what we can get. Good boy. Good buddy, good, atta boy, well done. Okay, and right there, he just kind of did it really well, so I'm going to encourage him with a little jackpot. Good, buddy, good. Good boy, well done. Fen gets really excited about a lot of encouragement like that, so, and it actually helps him to remember the trick really well. So depending on the dog that you have, make it exciting for them. Well done, buddy. Well done. Good boy. Yeah, boy. So there he was about to kind of rock back into a full down. So what I did was just guided my food hand forwards a little bit to get him out of that. But that was really good, because we don't want the full down here. We're just looking for the front elbows. Good boy. Not a good boy on the ground, so I can actually feed back up here to reposition him for the next repetition. Good job, buddy. Good job. Good, boy. And it's okay if they go into a full down. You're going to see Wrigley do that as well with this one. Attaboy. Attaboy. Well done, Bobs. Well done. But this is really good. This is something that usually would take Fen a whole lot longer. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy to actually get. So you're aiming to click the moment the dog's elbows actually hit the ground. Good boy. And then you can kind of bring them up to feed. so that they don't go all the way, good boy, they don't go all the way into that down that we're not necessarily looking for. Okay, so that's kind of how we do that one with a beginner dog like Fen. Good boy. And then as you see, it's getting a lot easier for him. He's starting to understand exactly what it is that I want. Good job, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. That's well done. So he's going to get it a lot faster. Good boy. Well done. And then you can start to attach a cue onto this one. So I could say something like, take a bow, and then guide him into it. Good job. And I'm going to want to fade the food right at his nose at a certain point too. That's a little bit too fast for where we're at right now. Good boy. But now he's going into it really beautifully. Good job, buddy. Well done. As a Happy Howie's official training partner, I want to talk about why I love using their soft meat roll treats for trick training with my dogs. So as you can see here, I'm cutting up these rolls. I actually really like to use a combination of all three of the flavors. We've got beef, lamb, and turkey. This keeps it a little bit extra interesting. My dogs are getting something different every single time, so it keeps especially my younger guy Fenway interested in the training session. I also really like it because I can customize the size of the treats. I've talked about this before, but with trick training in particular, I go through twice or even 3 times as many treats because, as you can see, especially throughout this video, I'm delivering a lot of treats for small behaviors in approximation towards our larger goal. So I go through lots and lots and lots of treats. So the ability to cut these up really tiny into bite-size and even smaller than bite-size pieces is really ideal. And then third is sometimes when I'm getting my dogs into different physical positions that they normally wouldn't hang out in. And like I mentioned, the play bow was a little bit harder for Fenway to be able to get his body into that, even though he goes into it all the time when playing. It was a little bit more tricky to lure him into that position. So for him, I actually need something that he's excited about and willing to follow down. So these he finds pretty high value, which says a lot because he's a very picky eater. So a high value treat. These soft meat rolls are perfect and ideal for trick training. Okay, so that's with Fen. I'll show you with Wrigley here as well. Find it. Because these two dogs are very, very different in how they do behaviors. Wrigley's much more excited about wanting to follow food. So for her, it's actually a lot faster. And I'm not going to let her put her butt on the ground. So it's the same kind of motion, but with her especially, I'm really making sure that I'm guiding her back up to reward her. Hi, buddy. Yeah, you're kind of in the way. Because otherwise, if I wait her out, she'll go all the way into that down. Wrigley is much better at following food wherever I put it than Fen is. That's one of her strong suits. So this one is actually very easy for her. She'll go into whatever position that I'm moving her into with where the food actually is. Good job. And again, I want to reward up high. Good girl. Good. And this one for Wrigley, she's almost 7 at this point, and she's got some lower back pain that can get exacerbated with a trick like this. So this is not something that I'm going to ask her to do a whole lot of. It is a good stretch for her, but it's not one that I would ask for super frequently from her. Good job, guys. Yeah, good job. Good. And we can see if she'll do it, but she used to actually know this one on cue. So if I put 2 fingers down, good girl, then she'll likely go down into that play bow. Good girl, well done. Good. And the 2 fingers kind of mimics this motion downwards, so I just transferred that cue over a period of time. Okay. So that's the play bow. I like to use that one as just kind of a means to teach the dog to move in a bunch of different positions. This one is very excited by food. That one is not. So depending on the dog that you have, lots of encouragement or just teaching them to follow where the food goes can be super helpful with this one. That also comes into play for our next trick, is teaching the dogs how to spin in a circle. This one is very easy to teach Wrigley because she will spin, as you can see, anywhere that I move the food, she will follow the food. So this one is a very easy trick to teach a dog that knows how to follow food. All you have to do is target their nose with food and move it in a circle. There we go. And then we can kind of fade that out to almost pointing. Good job. And we're still asking the dog to follow the hand, the moving hand, but you're kind of fading off on that lure that's right at their nose. And you can kind of get it to a point. The dog also has to be standing. Stand. And I'm going to stand up for this one. Good. So we can kind of get to a point where we're really significantly fading the food right at the dog's nose. Good job. And then I'm reaching in my treat bag to feed. Good. Well done. Well done. Okay, and then I can add a verbal cue to it. Spin. Good. I'm going to say it right before I mark or I do a hand signal. Spin. Good. And same thing with that one. Wrigley will also tire with it after a certain point. Reeks, go to place. Good girl. Good job. And Fenn's demonstrating our next trick. Let's show the people how you spin first. Okay, so with Fenn, it's actually, he knows this one. Spin. Good boy. But this one was actually easier to teach him with a toy. He was much more motivated with a toy. If I try to lure him, he backs up, which is pretty common. So with this one, I actually got a lot more speed when I added a toy into play with him. Rather than trying to guide him around in the same way that I do with Wrigley, it doesn't work as well with him. So go to place. Good girl, stay. If I add speed into it for him, it actually helps him a lot more than trying to break it down. So moving him, good boy. So he's still following that food lure, but I'm not slowing it down for him like I would break it down in many other parts. You could initially click and feed your dog just for following, again, just for following their head back with it. Good job. And once you get that, then you can kind of do one continuous motion. Hey, buddy. And if they back up like this, all you're gonna do is reset. Okay, invite them forwards, feed for them resetting, and then try again. Yeah, boy, good job. And again, for a dog like Fenn, who's actually a little bit more toy motivated, he's much slower with food. It's not his favorite thing. So I need a treat that's really high value to him and he'll work for. But using a ball is actually how I built some more speed into that, and he's quicker with his spins whenever I have the toy as a reinforcer. But that spin, it's a really easy one to teach. And again, you can kind of add a cue into it. Spin. And this one is harder when I'm right in front of him. So again, I can kind of stand up to help him spin. Good boy, good job. Just like that. Okay, so the next ones, these are two tricks that Fenn knows and he really likes. Come through. Good boy. So kind of this like middle behavior that he's doing. Sit. Good boy. I can ask him to sit. I can ask him to down. Ooh, that's too hard. Fenn, how about one up? Good, buddy, good. All right, free. Good job. But I use that one when actually playing with the Frisbee, with the tennis ball. I'll ask him to swing around behind me so that he can gain a little bit more speed with moving forwards after the toy. You could also translate that to teaching your dog to go around an object. I really like that one for in like park settings. If your dog gets wrapped around a tree or like a light post, you can ask them to go around it. So that one can translate really easily, and these ones are super easy to teach as well. So how you're gonna do this one initially, we'll see what Fenn does with it. He's the one that actually knows these behaviors. Wrigley does not, so I'll show you how I teach Wrigley how to do it. But I can take a treat, target his nose, bring him here, and then take a second treat and guide him through, just like that. Good boy. And I can give him several treats if I want him to stay put right here. Free. Good boy. Okay, and I really like to pick a certain direction that I'm asking the dog to enter through as well. That stays pretty consistent with Fenn. Wrigley might change it up a little bit more. We'll see. Free. Good boy. Nice job. But it's as simple as that. 2 treats. 1 treat to guide. Second treat to catch the dog. and then click and feed. And then his release cue is free, okay, which means you can get out of position, okay? So same deal, if your dog's coming around, one treat to guide, the other to finish, and you can toss the treat out for your dog to complete that behavior. Oh boy, well done. Good. And then once they become really fluid with that, you can add the cue, go around. Good boy, well done. And you can start to kind of fade the first treat and just guide. Good boy. So you're just having the treat right at the very end. Go around. And then that kind of turns into a cue, a hand signal for your dog. Go around. Good boy. Well done. Just like that. So 2 really easy ones to teach. I really like that middle behavior for a lot of different reasons. For Fen in particular, it's going to become useful for our stand-up paddleboard that we're teaching him how to do if he can station himself in between my legs. That is a stable position for him to be in, teaching him to sit there, lie down there, all different stuff like that. I also use that a lot out in public with him. If we're in a crowded space, I can ask him to station himself between my legs so that he's not in the way of anybody and he's not bothering anybody either. So that's a good stable position for him to be in, that I really like that behavior for. So that is that one. I'm gonna give his brain a little bit of a break. Wrigley, you wanna try this one? Okay. All right, lady. So we're gonna start with her with the come around behavior to teach her the 2 hands have food in them. So I'm gonna guide her with one, catch her with the other. Good job. Nice job. And Wrigley doesn't know these behaviors either. She's just also very good at following food. So following food is a good first trick to teach your dog. And since she's just learning this, I am clicking and feeding directly to her mouth right here, but I will start tossing the food probably on the next repetition. Okay, so there she came around in front. That's okay. So I'm gonna kind of guide a little bit more than I was doing before. Reset away. Guide. And Fen wants to play with the ball. We'll do the ball. Don't worry, buddy. Good. Very nice. And the guide. Good. And right there, she's kind of getting behind me and she's getting a little bit lost sometimes on where that secondary treat is. Good job. And he wants the ball. Good boy. There we go. Okay, here we go, Reese. Yeah, here we go. Good girl. Well done. Good job. Good girl. Perfect. Okay, and then if I wanted to stop her in the middle, I'm just going to catch her early with that secondary treat. Good job. Well done. All done. Good job. Ooh, and she went all the way around with that one. That's okay. I'm going to reward her still because she's just learning this one. Good. Very nice. And I would recommend teaching down. I would recommend teaching one of those things first rather than both at the same time if you want your dog to go all the way around your back through your legs or all the way around your back around your legs. Those are very similar concepts. So I would teach one to completion first and then add the other one in. That's going to be a lot easier for your dog to be able to take that information in. She did pretty well with that. Again, this is going to be super easy for a dog that knows to follow a food lure. I taught both of these with Fen with food initially, and then I translated it onto toys. So I'll show you what all of these with toys with him and, you know, show you how exactly he does that and does with that. Good boy. Okay. Here we go. Is he ready? He does a spin. Good. And boy. And a spin. Good. That's a good boy. Good. Good boy. Well done. Good. That's a good boy. It's a come through with me. Good. Boy. Even though this video is quite a bit longer than 5 minutes, I really would recommend doing a 5-minute training session first with your dog, not going through all these tricks at once. Give your dog enough time to kind of catch on to the concept and then end the training session. This can be a lot for any dog to be able to take in that information, and shorter is always going to be better whenever they're learning new things. So keep it short, deliver lots of treats, and you can find the link to these Happy Howie's soft meat roll treats in the description so you can pick a roll up for yourself and give it a shot. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one.